here with you and share with you a little bit of my experience in Brazil and what we are doing now, specifically in São Paulo. Well, when we begin to think about the future of making, the first thing I think is how is produced everything that we consume and using in our daily life. Probably in the larger industry, which at the same produce these projects on a larger scale, it's also produced a lot of waste, which we don't know very well where it's going after. We as an individuals, what we can do to change the way that larger industry produce. Since I joined the maker movement, I have learned that we can do a lot, and if we do together, we can also transform the way things are done or made. I would like to share you a little bit of my experience with you, which is very particular, but I'm very happy to have helped to change the lives of many people. From the moment I was able to expand in my country, the places that allowed access to all citizens through the new digital manufacturing technology and tools. When I was young, I had contact with the book from Eric Dexler, an MIT scientist that is one of the fathers of nanotechnology, who predicted incredible scenarios of how nanotechnology could transform our lives. One of the most surprising things was how things would be built in the 90s. In other words, larger industry would be made up of a series of interconnected tanks which would have what it takes to build anything. Nowadays, we have something that is very similar to that. Whether it's in a digital manufacturing, which are resin printing, or in a bioreactor, when we think of all the possibilities of biological machines. He said that the fabrication could be clear and without waste, since we could recycle atom per atom. He said of the existence of nanomachines, he called it molecular assemblers, which are also contained within these tanks. These machines had the capacity to self-replicate, and in addition, they followed the structure precisely, position atom per atom, molecule per molecule of the object. All the information needed to construct the object was embedded in the material itself. It's very similar to Lego, in which each block contains all the information necessary to build any object, which allows us to assemble and disassemble, destroy indefinitely, and therefore the information is embedded in the material. This is what we see today, and that is, the future has arrived, In 2002, the Economist said that the third industrial revolution, the digitalization of production, that would be possible by the dissemination of digital technology, since we would move from mass production to mass customization. When we had mass production, this was only possible with large and expensive machines that only a few people could have. In this production, we have the manufacture of weaker things that comes from mold and larger scale production to account for the cost of the machine. Already in the digital manufacture, we no longer have this because we work with information, not with physical modes. So we can build different objects adapted to particular needs. We have the miniaturization of and the decrease of the cost. In addition, this technology have become more accessible for people. One of the most well-known of this digital manufacture is the 3D printing, which allows flexibility in production, which decreases the cost of transportation logistics, which is often higher than the cost of producing the object itself, in addition to environment cost when transporting it. So that means that the thing that can be produced locally, although the design, which is the information, can be global. But the biggest impact of all in this consumption because knowing how things are made completely change the way that we look at the object. This doesn't mean that we are going to manufacture everything that we consume or use, but this knowledge allows us to analyze and better choose what we consume. This drastically reduces our impulse consumption or our alienated consumption. Before buying, I think if I could make it by myself, if it's really in worth the price, and after thinking so much, I often come to the conclusion that I don't need it, the object. This will not make the companies disappear because they find way of doing and pleasant their customers. That's why it's important to ask ourselves where the things we have today come from. Are they sustainable, or they have a series of embedded externality? That is, in other words, the difference between the price that the market itself pays for a product and its real social and environmental cost. If you think about it, each of us don't need to have a 3D print at home or any other digital fabrication equipment, because we will not have to use it all the time. This need to have equipments and tools is not real. For example, you can only have a drilling machine in one region. I have one and I use a few hours per year. What I see today is that the most important is the democratization of information, access, and production. That's the way the future is collaborative. In São Paulo, we have the largest network of public, open, and free digital fabrication laboratories in the world. That it's FabLab Livre, SP. This public policy democratizes the access of conscious use of these digital manufacturers tools for the entire population of the city of São Paulo. This is inspired by, of course, by the idea that came from MIT that Norella presented. This is an example of digital fabrication as a public policy. And this is very important. The FabLab Livre network from São Paulo City Hall was launched in November and then 2015 with the purpose of encouraging and democratize the use of the new digital technologies in the city. We have 3D printers, laser cutters, milling machines, vacuum forming, vinyl cutter, among many others offer digital fabrications and analog tools as woodwork. A FabLab Livre network consists of 12 units of public laboratory distributed through all regions of the city, in main objective being the dissemination of the maker culture. So here is the map of São Paulo, and you can see that we have a laboratory in most of all. The south part, we have a water repairs, so it's in all regions that the people live. So this network gives you free access to innovative tools and techniques which contribute to user education in terms of training and developing a diverse array of abilities involving new technologies. The first laboratory was launched in November in 2015, and the last one was launched in April 2016. We have we have more than 50 different courses offered totally free, and we have impacted more than 118,000 citizens in São Paulo. Average of 1,400 participants per month in courses of short, medium, and long duration, and average 2.5 visitors per month in each laboratory. The laboratories of FabLab Livre network offers totally free spaces democratize the access to digital fabrication technology for all citizens, included in all regions of the capital, great presence in social vulnerability areas, and we improve the generation of opportunities, unlimited potential of prototype and digital construction, learning in high technology machinery, and promote the concept of smart citizens. Okay, here I will show you some projects that people and the local community are making in the laboratories. The first one is this, that calls Togo Toy. That is an inclusive toy developed by Julia, Yussi, and Vitor Akamini, whose goals is the integration between visual impaired children and sight children, composed of modular blocks with words writing in Braille alphabet, the transcription in usual alphabet and corresponding symbols allows children to create their own histories. The second one is very interesting, that calls Espaço Zen, conceived with the purpose for the community to participate in the Zen space in Céu Heliópolis. Heliópolis is the biggest community that we have in São Paulo, and more organized community too. It was made by women, men, and young people from all over community. The project consisted of the creation and construction of living area in with Céu Heliópolis in perspective of providing new meanings to small space. Céu is a urban equipment very important in São Paulo that have education and other areas for all citizens. This is a little bit of the construction that takes 1 year, because everything was very collaborative and everybody is participating of all decisions. This one, the project that calls Conquetudes, began from a partnership with the Céu Heliópolis cooperative, the cooperative Concretudes, and the architect Rui Otaki, who participated helping with the design of the project. This project was intended to put together people from the cooperative and those of the local community in Heliópolis to learn and replicate the concrete vessel technique in order to boost a new local business proposal. She is Amélia de Souza, and she developed a lot of daily solutions. After a traffic accident, Amélia lost the movement of her left arm and never imagined that she could create utensils to help herself. The purpose of her project was to fix a bowl while she used her hand to dump the cake in the pan. After this first experience, she began to create other types of utensils to make her and others handicapped people with mobility reduction lives easier. Her work was published. This one is the group formed by young skateboards in Jardim Romano. Is in a very far neighborhood in São Paulo, in the peripheral area of the east of São Paulo. In the year 2016, had the goal of conquering a specific public space for skateboarding, as well as developing an important work of social inclusion through sport, poetry, and music. Today, the group counts in its composition with skaters, musicians, poets, and students that for 2 years have been developed social, cultural, and pedagogical works. The collective has a series of skateboard ramps and sport champions, as well as skateboard made from recycled plastic. Okay, the last one, the designer Marco Sarifi in Fab Lab found a great opportunity to develop 2 completely recycled surfboards projects. The project found on the internet were replicated and readapted at Fab Lab Heliópolis in the south of the capital. Both are based on cardboard. Concerning this first one, the material replaced the polyurethane and its various variation in the inner part. The other one is almost made of cardboard and receives just the lamination of fiberglass to resist the water. Just to finish, last year we launched the world's first open, free, and public wet lab. And since then, we have been producing low-cost laboratory equipments together with the people to start the lab. We changed the place that we have the Fab Lab in Céu Três Pontes, and we win a kitchen, so it's the perfect place to have a wet lab. So we believe that the next revolution will be biotechnology, using the life or principles of life to produce and grow almost anything in a sustainable way. The existence of, this is one of the photos of the space and things that we are doing. The existence of garbage and waste, as in these images, with all the technology that we have, is a designer hero this day. The principles of biotechnology and synthetic biology are very similar to those of digital fabrication, and we believe that science should be open to all citizens. When we talk about biotechnology and synthetic biology, we're talking about hacking of biological systems, new line of genetic engineer, inspiration in computing, gene circuits, and biobricks. In our laboratory, we encourage do-it-yourself biology and grow it yourself to create not only the equipment that we will use, but also the biofactories we will develop in the near future, encouraging open and citizen science. We believe that the knowledge is not a private property and that we have to share as much as possible. Like this, I hope. This may seem like a privilege only for academic labs, but just as computers have evolved and become accessible, biological technologies can be too. The programming of living organisms is already a reality, and we can now develop biological machines so that they can produce almost everything clearly. This programming of biological circuits is very similar to the programming of electronic circuits, and this is already an accessible reality. To equip our laboratory, we made the Biohack Academy, a program developed by the VAR Society, based in Amsterdam, which we took some models of biotechnology laboratory equipments to start production. From these models, we have been adapting the project and developing them closer to our reality. Here is an example of the evolved, and it's very similar, the digital technology and the biotechnology. So we we made the Biohack Academy that we can learn it to make 10 different equipments of biological laboratories. And together with important groups and communities of young people and students from São Paulo, such as Simbio and Hardware Livre da USP, Free Hardware of USP, we set up a group of students that meet every day, week, to develop projects. This group is affectionately called a group of biohacking, in which includes important values such as democratic and non-hierarchical science, open access to genetic information, liberating potential of technology development, low cost of laboratory equipment, open restricted access inside the academy, and obsolete equipment, high cost of service. To conclude, I will show you some projects that we already have been developed, changing the first model from Biohack Academy. We have many others in progress, but here we have the first that we made, that was the centrifuge. The electrophoresoscope, that is essential to separate DNA. The microscope with focus adjustment. These equipments are very different of this one. We modify a lot. So now it's getting a little bit better. And this last one is a bioreactor for algae growth, because we work a lot of microalgae. So we are working hard, so that soon we hope we have the Bioacademy, as Norella showed you, in our laboratory. That is an academy from Fab Foundation for those who want to produce things using living organisms. And finally, now my new challenge is to make this network of laboratories that we know that we have today in São Paulo national. So since Brazil is a very large country and it lacks access of all kinds, we see this as a great opportunity to disseminate knowledge and empower citizens. I hope that the next presentation, this dream will come true. Thank you.